Hey, everybody. Just a reminder that Monday, January 30th, instead of recording our episode at the usual time, we are going to be broadcasting live. Time to be announced soon. So stay tuned.
Not only that, we're going to be live at, where are we going to be, Dusty?
West Coast Iron.
Together. It's going to be cool. I'm looking forward to this. Mutant's bringing me out. Mutant's bringing you out, too, Dusty, because you're doing a thing with Ron.
Yes, we have a whole week there.
Cool.
Absolutely.
We're just letting it all out of the bag?
Right now. It's out.
Tune in.
There you go. Do I look okay with the toque? Is this okay?
I like it.
You look
very
hardcore.
gangsta.
Yeah.
Is this going to fly? I don't look like I'm like trying to be 12 years old.
No. No.
We act like we're 12. We're good. Besides, I got some fire topics today.
So there's a couple of times I've been at the mall wearing like Jordan pants and my West Coast Iron hoodie and, you know, a Mutant t-shirt. And then like my Chucks will match my hat.
Yeah.
And then I'll walk past a family that looks like they've got like a bit of money. And you know, the families that dress their kids like cool.
Yeah.
Pull them in
They've got a little
closer.
extra cash. They got a little extra cash. So you walk by and they've got like a 10-year-old and he's wearing basically exactly the same outfit as me. He's got like Chucks that match his hat and like, you know, Nike pants and like a cool hoodie. And I'm like, oh my God, I dress like a child.
And then you realize you're the same age as the dad.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah, no, there you go.
Or older, actually.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh God. Yeah, it's pretty funny. So I don't know. I saw the other day Jordan Peterson was talking about dressing like a man, you know? And like he's big on like, you know, he always wears suits and ties. And I'm like, oh man, I failed this one real bad. I got my room cleaned. I'm doing good, but the dressing like a man part, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't even have a suit that technically fits anymore. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I do have a couple. Fortunately, a couple I got made like, you know, within the last couple of years, so they do fit. But yeah,
Ron never knows, like when he's gonna have to go on the Olympia stage and hand out a trophy or something. You know.
Hey man, you know Bob might like hurt his knee or something, and they might.
Next thing you know,
like I never know. Like it might be like something that happens there. Like maybe he eats bad shellfish at lunch, and all of a sudden the finals are coming, and Bob's like out of commission, like 1,000% out of commission. There's no way he's
Dusty
pulling it
and I
off.
could possibly make that happen. You know, get you in there.
Listen.
Get you in there.
And then also too, this requires that all of the actually talented people are already busy doing live streams for like pay-per-view, you know, like, so like a lot of the people that they turn to are actually already doing something. So they're like,
you are
extra desperate. And I just happen to be there.
Dusty, we're going to have a busy
With a suit on.
a busy Olympia next time, making sure that people are busy. You know what I'm saying?
Nancy Kerrigan. Well, Nancy Kerrigan that ass. You know what I mean?
That's what I was thinking. Oh, God. Hope Bob doesn't see this. We like Bob.
Sorry, Bob.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I think I screw up. I think I screw up too many names.
Oh, yeah.
That's a big one.
That's a problem.
Actually, I do pretty good. I do pretty good with names. I even like, there's a couple times I surprised myself. I like rolled a couple R's, just hammered them. Yeah, like you know what I mean.
Oh,
certain name, you know that you know that that's a you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was have a bit of fun with it. So I guess we should intro the show. Like, share, subscribe, comment. And
Ring the bell. Holy. I was like, wait, I say it. Give me the
That was
end.
the ultimate alley-oop. That was the slow motion pass. And then they slow it down and it almost hangs above the rim. And then the second guy comes in. Bam. Yeah.
Ooh, that was scary. It's a big moment.
I didn't know if it was going to happen.
The alley-oop is one of the coolest things in sports.
Oh, yeah. The alley-oop and the bicycle kick in soccer.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, and also too, like Dusty. I mean, let's give credit to like a beautiful one-timer. You know, like a nice pass from like the side up, bam. You know, like top corner,
Flawless.
Yeah. So what are we talking about today? We actually have a great guest this week.
Yeah,
we have a great guest this week, and you will have already seen that show, but we haven't done that show yet.
We haven't.
In our world, this is the first show, and then we will do the guest. But you will see them
days later.
The other way around.
Yeah, it's gonna be live.
Yeah.
So crazy.
We can't really promote it because we're like, hey guys, go back in time and watch the live episode. But if you hadn't seen it, it will be syndicated. You know, they could go back and watch that Aceto episode.
Yeah. Yeah,
I like that word, syndicated. Fancy.
Yeah, can we actually use that word? Like, that's really cool to be able to use that word. I just want to use it.
I'm the producer. We can do whatever we want. Yeah, except for swear. Except for swear. We're not allowed to do
except for swears in the first 30 minutes of the podcast.
Yeah.
I've had a bunch of people tell me. It's the first 30 minutes. They're like,
here's
the
the
first
deal.
30 minutes. After that, you can do whatever you want.
It's the first minute. Is if it's in there, it's a guaranteed. And then this is where it becomes a gray area. They say, or if it is throughout. So what does throughout mean? Does throughout mean 2? Throughout definitely means 5. If you hear the F word 5 times, it's out. So
5 times?
It's throughout.
That is so low.
Yeah.
That's almost impossible.
Well, for us, it has been impossible.
I've really struggled to speak since we started doing this. Like,
You're
I'm just letting Ron take all the heat.
F-bombs over.
Yeah.
Did you see that, Scott, that Ron sent us from Good Will Hunting?
I didn't see that one, no.
Oh man! So they were.
Oh, you didn't see that video? I put it in the Instagram chat, but I know you're not on there much. Yeah. But it was one of those. It was Matt Damon. What was he talking about, Dusty? The number of F-bombs?
Yeah, the number of F-bombs, because they wrote Good Will Hunting. And they were like, they said, can we make it PG-13? And he said, well, how would you do that? And they're like, you have to lower the number of F-bombs. And he was like, all right, well, how low does that have to get? And they were like 5. And he's like, well, where are we at? And they're like 147.
No problem.
And then
easy.
And then they show one section with him just talking, like one scene.
Yeah.
And he drops it 4 times. And then
Yeah.
what's his name? Who's the
Ben Affleck?
Therapist?
Oh yeah.
No, the therapist in that show.
Oh,
was,
Robin Williams.
Robin Williams bombs it twice in that one. And I'm like, they're at 6 right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like 30-second clip, and they're at 6. Yeah.
I did see.
And he goes, but we're from South Boston. We just wrote it like a conversation.
Yeah.
And we would just say it, and then we go, okay, we have to write that down. And then we go, how would you say this? And you go, I'd say this. Okay, we write that down. And that's what they got, 147.
It's just natural if you live in Boston. I did see
I was
the
gonna
clip.
say, if you've ever been there, it's true.
Was it the lady who looked like Jim Carrey? I saw her, that poor lady.
Yeah, that was great, eh?
Yeah. I'll see if I can drop that in here too, post-production. That was
amazing.
But she could laugh at herself, which is the thing that I think we all should get better at. You know what I'm saying? Like she was hideous.
Hilarious.
Yeah, she's funny about it.
Freaking hilarious. She was freaking hilarious.
Yes. Oh yeah, there we go.
That's all she was freaking hilarious. Yes.
Oh man. It's so funny.
Can we talk about excitement that I got today when Nick and Constantine text me, see you in a couple of days? I didn't know they were filming us next week.
Oh.
That is exciting. I didn't. I was very stoked to hear that. Yes.
Yeah.
So
I
tell
love
the
shooting
people,
with them.
what does this even mean? Filming? What's going on?
Well, we're having a little mutant content party for a week.
Oh, okay.
And we're bringing people in.
So
to make a bunch of stuff at the gym up here.
Yeah. So what does that look like exactly? Like what? Because see, for people who are on the outside like me, we don't know what that is. Plus, I have something to tell you.
Okay.
Too, but I'll wait.
I was going to say you're not quite on the outside anymore, but go ahead.
Well, for example, the Vegas, we did a mutant mansion. We call them mutant mansions. It's like the thing we call it in house so that we know what's up. And it's we all met in a Airbnb in Vegas, a really nice big house. It had F-bombing, 10 bedrooms.
Yeah.
It had
two
two huge kitchens, 10 bedrooms. And anyways, we just, lived in this house for a week, and we had a schedule like, okay, you guys are training in the morning, you guys are training midday, you guys are training in the late afternoon.
Yeah.
And Nick and Constantine would, go with the groups and shoot the content and, gather kitchen and meal prep content while we're at the house at night. We'd all make our dinner and they'd film it, and then they'd collect some candid stuff. You never know when you're going to get something good, just filming everyone sitting around the table eating, that sort of stuff. So there's a lot of that going on. It's pretty fun, like just hanging out and getting fed. And I mean, you're cooking your own meals, but you're just sitting around eating and talking and training, and
that's cool.
And I'll have to take time off of like actual work to go film that sort of stuff with Mutant that week. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it's pretty fun change.
Yeah, that is cool. So can I tell them, guys, what's going on here?
You should tell them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So I'm gonna be there. Well, I'm gonna kind of be there. I'm flying out. I just talked to them today, George, and I'm gonna come out, I believe, on Sunday so that we can record the podcast together live on Monday. And Ron already checked his internet. Like, we can do this thing live from West Coast Iron next week. It'll be a few days after this one comes out.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah. That's
crazy.
pretty awesome.
It's crazy.
So,
my mind's kind of blown by that. I know for you guys, like, how many times have you guys done Mutant Mansion type things? Because I know you guys go like back to, Ron, you've told stories of being like at Venice Beach with Rich Piana, and you've been doing this stuff for a long time, right?
Yeah, 10 years. Yeah.
It's crazy.
First Mutant Mansion was in 2013. We organized that.
What did it feel like to you the first time you were invited to do something like that?
Well, Mutant was pretty ahead of a lot of other companies on the YouTube channels. Like, I remember those days. I remember going to Denver, for example, for a Mutant Mansion, and we shot at Armbrust Gym all week. And it was Rich Piana, Johnny Jackson, myself, Ronaldo Gary, Gabe Moan. We had like a big team, and it was Jonathan was working for us in house. He shot all of Phil Heath's DVDs. Jonathan's a good friend of ours, but he worked for Mutant for a while, and he was like Phil Heath's guy that shot all of his DVDs, like Becoming 13 and still the one or whatever, and all those DVDs. He shot all that. So he was shooting our stuff. It looked awesome. Like, it was really cool, and obviously I wasn't even a pro. So like, I was like really fortunate, because there wasn't a lot of amateurs that were getting paid and flown around and shot and filmed like on quality film, like with like a real video, like real, like, filmographer.
Yeah.
Like Jonathan was like a documentary film guy, and he was working for Mutant. So like, the stuff looked awesome.
Yeah.
His stuff was fantastic. And so it was really cool, because I'd even look better in the video than I actually looked. You know what I mean? Like, it was like the first time I was like, oh wow, like this is actually part of why, everyone looks great, because they're getting shot with, really high quality cameras and like, produced well. And, so it makes a big difference. And of course the industry standard is that on your phone now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really
right.
is.
Like back in 2012, like you had to have like a guy, and he had to have like a nice camera.
Yeah.
And all that was a couple F-bombs in there for you.
Only one.
You're noticing now. That's
I'm noticing
progressing. Now. Yeah. Ron notices now.
Progress.
So the horse is being broken, as my grandpa would say. There's no longer a stallion.
Ron's been neutered.
He's been snipped.
What?
Yeah.
No, I was just wondering.
No more roaming the prairie, spreading his seed.
Because to me, it's like, this is really, really exciting. I see myself as being more like one of our listeners, you know what I mean? And just a fan of the sport, and having followed Mutant for a really long time, to actually get to come out and they believe in our podcast, which is really cool, and they're going to make this happen. So it's not like they have some sort of like ulterior motives. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, they just see something that's cool, and they're going to support that. So I have to say thank you. I want to, from the bottom of my heart. Like, this is going to be freaking amazing. And hopefully I don't break things. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully like it works. No.
And we never make a big deal out of any of the stuff that comes to the gym, because we always want, like, for example, if let's just say Chris called us and said he was going to come and train, we wouldn't like announce it to our members, right? Because we want to like keep it like, low key. So we never announce anything. People just show up, and that's one of the fun things about like who's going to show up next week at our gym, right?
That's cool.
It's pretty cool. We're bringing Dusty up. Jamie's coming too, right?
Yep, Jamie's coming.
Yep,
the whole the whole
Jamie's
crew
Giants
minus Sean.
Yeah, and everyone's coming, so it's going to be fun. Andrea's coming, so it's going to be great.
Nice.
Donna will be there.
So, yeah,
Donna's coming.
Yep,
nice.
Yeah, Donna's coming. She said that it was important. She wanted to sign the wall. She's going to paw print it. She's like, boom, right there, paw print.
I'm excited to see what the wall looks like now, because the last time I was there, I don't think it had nearly as many signatures as I've seen in pictures since.
So the wall has an interesting. The wall has swallowed a lot of the signatures, is how I put it, which is kind of a interesting way to look at it. What happened was the sun bleached a lot of them off.
Okay.
So
I get to sign it for the first time this trip.
So it's I mean, it's kind of cool because it's like interesting. You wonder like what signatures are gone off the wall,
Yeah.
But the first 3 years we were open, the sun was just hitting that wall through the window.
Yeah.
And then we spent like $8,000 and we got all the windows like 80% heat blocked.
Ooh, nice.
With like the UV tint. Like we got that whole south and east wall of the gym upstairs and downstairs just completely heat tinted.
Yeah, because if I recall, that's like all windows in the front.
Oh yeah. So, and it dropped the internal temperature of the gym in the summertime, dropped it 5 degrees.
Nice.
So like a huge difference. Like if it's a hot day, 25 is a lot different than 30.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You saw Celsius, like crazy difference, right? So anyways, it was a really good deal. And then we realized that that's what had happened to the wall because the signatures stopped fading basically. Huh. And we're like, shit. Okay. So we lost a bunch of them, but everyone can re-sign if they have to. If you can't find yourself on the wall at West Coast, let us know.
Well, I have to tell people then too. So if we might not have a set time, we might be recording at normal time. I don't know. We'll have to talk about that, but that'll be on Monday. So we always record on Mondays. It's not going to come out on Wednesday like it normally does. We're going to do this on a Monday. So you guys will have to, tune in, get your week started right with a little bit of, it's just bodybuilding, right?
There you go. So that's not, that's next week? Yeah.
It's going to be next week. Like a week from today.
It's fast.
Crazy.
So they're going to get their episode forward in time is what's going to happen.
There's a lot going on right now.
There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot.
Our episodes are out of order. We got like Inception going on. There's a lot.
Yeah.
Dusty hasn't even signed the wall yet, but he did. This is weird.
Yeah, but I did, but I didn't. Because I did. But it's not there. Well, you know why? They took it off after I died. And now, I decided, by the way, we came up with this weekend. Since AD has already been used by someone else, we're going with ADD after Dusty died.
Dusty died.
So that's kind of our thing. I don't want to copy someone else with a beard.
Yeah.
It's no good.
Hey, here's a quiz. Here's a quiz question for you guys.
All right.
Who was the first pro to ever sign the wall at West Coast Iron?
Ooh.
I feel like I should know this.
You didn't sign your own wall first. I know that much. So it's not going to be you. I feel like I should know it too.
I'll give you a hint. He trained there the day before we opened, and he signed it.
Trained the day before you opened? I got nothing. Who is it?
Somebody that knew them well enough. Was it Chris? Really?
Bumstead was the first.
Bumstead was the first pro to train at our gym and the first pro to sign the wall.
And did he have to re-sign?
Yeah. He might have, I mean, I can still see his signature though. For some reason, I can still find him on the wall. So
because he comes through, like you can't take Bumstead. The sun can't even move Bumstead from first.
The sun
place.
can't even erase his signature. Yeah, yeah.
We had an over/under question about Chris's mustache today, by the way, just to give you a little preview on that one. Too.
I'm excited.
Yeah, we got a listener critique too. He sent us in contest pictures.
Let's hear
and stuff like that. You got You want to do that?
Oh, I thought it was like a critique of us.
No,
I thought you meant.
no.
I thought you meant
No,
like, yeah.
No, we did get some stuff though too about the Ron's Delicious Meat. A lot of people want to get that.
By the way, we can take this in the U.S. now. I have a guy, so if we want to, if you'd like to delve into Dusty's pockets, we can bring it in the U.S. too. Just saying, just a thought.
Okay,
just rolling that out there.
I know where you guys can advertise that at no cost, you know.
And we can still stick it with Ron's meat because Dusty's meat's seen enough.
Yes, yeah.
This is the ADD, Dusty. So
my meat is like half full of good old stories and then half full of shame.
We've all got some slump busters. It's fine.
Slump busters.
Great.
Man.
All right, roll it out, Scott. What do we got here?
All right. Well, we did have a bunch of questions. We had. I'll start with this one, just because I feel like it's a timely question, being that this is toward the end of January, the New Year's resolutioners are all hitting it hard in the gym. The question is from Jim McDonald. He gave us a bunch of over-unders last week. He says,
Jim.
Let's see. My gym has gotten so crowded over the past few weeks that it's peeing me off. And many of my,
say that?
I'm going to be real careful here. And many of the long-term members. You pretty much have to base your workouts on what's available or come at in undesirable times, undesirable to me at least. This didn't just start at the new year, but it's definitely at a whole new level. My question is whether it is reasonable to expect the gym owner or management to only sell the amount of memberships that the place can handle. It seems like they've been running sales even though the place is beyond capacity. I know I could vote with my wallet, but I'd also leave money on the table if I were to try and break my contract.
I have an answer for that. Simple. Gyms sell memberships far beyond capacity because most gyms members don't come in. So people don't realize that is these, and this isn't picking on resolutioners, but anyone who signs a new membership, the majority of signatures sign and do not come in and use and keep their membership for extended periods of time beyond not using them. So although to him it is a pain, if I own the gym, I'm selling all of them because the percent that are staying is low. The percent are going to pay for a year, 2 years. I mean, I know people that have been members for years, but walking into the gym and canceling that membership is akin to admitting they're quitting. Yeah. People really don't. I mean, my little gym here, I say little, it's 25,000 square feet, but they have 8,000 members at this gym. Trust and believe 8,000 people are not walking in there multiple days a week. Ron?
Yeah, I mean the corporate gym, the reason the corporate gym is marketed the way it is because that's what actually sells the most memberships. So, and they're like, for example, I had a friend that managed a Gold's in another city, and he told me that his average member came once every 9 days.
Wow.
And apparently that was really good. Like head office had said something like, "Oh, wow. Like, how did you get that number?" Cause like the lower, the better, right? It means they have like all these, cause then, also factor in that if nobody comes, equipment's not getting worn out. Yeah. Nothing breaks. Like the water usage will be low, like everything, the less people come and just pay their membership, the better. So that's actually the ideal situation for most gyms. So, for example, at West Coast, our average member comes 4 times a week,
which is pretty good.
Awesome in the other direction.
Yeah.
I mean, because people are really using your gym.
Yeah. So the downside is we don't have a bunch of inactive members that would really help the bottom line. But most of our members come to the gym all the time, Yep. But so it's a slightly different model. So, you have to run your gym differently.
How about
people have to understand that gyms are like all businesses are run in a way where they are trying to figure out, I mean, I shouldn't say all, but trying to figure out the best way to maximize their business model For example, tanning salons, a lot of tanning salons, and one of them locally here, switched to where you can only come every 24 hours, not as in Monday once, Tuesday once, as in 24 hours later.
Yeah.
And the reason that that is a huge success for them financially is odds are you can't come at the exact same time.
Right.
So one day you come late. Now the next day you can't go that late. So you just skip a day. The amount of times their tanning beds get used gets chopped way down, and members are up in arms. They're like, this is inconvenient. And they have no idea it's on purpose.
Yeah.
It literally slows down the amount that your beds get used. You're getting the same amount of money. And from a business standpoint, it's a good move. You know, I just quit a tanning membership for that.
Yeah.
And I laughed because I knew what they were doing. I'm like, genius, but messes me up. So see ya.
I thought it was like a law or something, like to protect you from yourself or, you know, cancer.
That's what they sell you on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not. Yeah. It's every day is at least here that it's every day is the law, but they can't force you to track the hours. But it's a genius way to dance around it and block you. Because think about it, if you usually go at 3 and then something happens today and you go at 5, now tomorrow at 3 you're there. Yeah. You just skip. You're not coming back in 2 hours because then that's going to keep it going down the line, you know? Yeah. It's genius actually. But
so what about the training part? So the other end of things, how have you guys dealt with it dealing with a busy gym? You know, how do you handle figuring out your workouts and working around all these people, say New Year's resolutioners or whatever?
I just remember that all that really matters is that you load the muscle in a plane of motion that it does. Like, what does that muscle do? Like, if you're doing biceps, you have to load it this way. Like, all you have to do is a curl. Like the exercises we do, they're not that different from one another. Yeah. You know what I mean? You can get in there. If all you can get is that one plate loaded chest machine, then just do, instead of doing 2 working sets on that, 2 working sets on incline dumbbell, 2 working sets on, machine fly, you could just do 4 working sets on the one press machine that you got your hands on because it's crazy that day.
2 in a row.
2 in a row.
You're killing us. You're killing us.
Just trying to remind you. Figure a little mindfulness, bring a little mindfulness back in. Save me an hour of editing.
He's getting passionate right now. He's passionate.
That's the thing.
You just hear what happens. Hear when he's telling Emily how much he loves her. Yeah. It's really full of F-bombs.
I sound like I'm from South Boston.
Yeah.
No, but you're right, Ron. It's that. And if you are someone like me when I was going out and doing DC training, then the word that he used was inconvenient. And my answer to that is, what about bodybuilding is convenient? So if I must train on certain pieces of equipment, then I go to the gym when that will be feasible. Or I will take Ron's mindset, because nothing about being a bodybuilder is convenient. So I kind of throw that out the window. I mean, if I had to, I would train at midnight. Like, it doesn't, you alter your plans. The way I do it now is I actually find that new members are more respectful. They might not know everything and make some little errors, but it's the long timers that are the ones that are supersetting 19 pieces of equipment and all that crap. You know what I mean? So usually I'll be ultra nice to people right out the gate. And that usually comes with questions down the line, which is good. And it also comes with courtesy. If I'm even glancing at a piece of equipment, they will be like, are you going to use that? I'm like, as soon as you're done.
Yeah.
Like, no rush, but they do. Yeah. They realize, like, oh, that big guy there is really nice. And he answers my questions. And next thing you know, I think people really underestimate the power of just not being a douche.
Yeah, that's a great point. I have to hop on that because we never have any issues at our gym because we have like a bit of a, whatever you'd call it, like relationship with the other people that train there. Mm-hmm. Like we just walk over and like stand close to the pec deck, and the guy on the pec deck's like, 2 more guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, hey, thanks, awesome. We're just chill. No worries. We just did a hard set, and we'll just hang out. And we don't even ask. Like half the time, they just see. Like it's everyone kind of, if it's the community is right at the gym, everyone kind of has this sort of symbiotic sort of understanding of what's going on.
Yeah.
I
remember doing what was it? It was like because I tried to do that same thing, be really friendly to people. I remember one time when I did kind of lose it a little bit. This lady, I was on a tricep press down with cable, and I decided I was going to do a rest pause on this, so just one set, and it took me 5 minutes or whatever to warm up to my one set, and do as many reps as you can, and then wait 20 seconds, and then as many reps as you can, wait 20 seconds. I do that first part. And then I go to wait 20 seconds and I had my headphones in and I'm looking at my phone and I kind of like just stepped away over here. And when I turn around, this personal trainer lady who was new had come in and she like switched out to a different handle and changed the weight. And I'm just like, I was literally like turning around to put my hands on the handles. And I'm like, what's going on? And she was like, oh, don't worry. We're just going to work in with you. We'll be just a couple minutes. And I was like, what?
Yeah, that comes with an ask first situation.
Yeah.
But see, even that, Scott, I can successfully guide you in the most ridiculing way and say it in a way that is nice and you apologize every time.
Yeah.
Very good at freak you in the most polite way you've ever seen. Everyone's like, oh.
I wish I had that. Like looking back, I wish I had that. But I was in that mindset where like I had already turned it on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like it was going to go in the weights, but because I couldn't and she was there instead.
DBADC came out. Wow. Don't be a dumb. Okay.
I feel remorseful about that. It wasn't that bad, but I did tell her how I felt.
Did she put it back?
Yeah.
I can't remember how that went, but I know she was new there and she wasn't around too much longer. What was that?
That makes me feel good. She shouldn't have been that much longer.
No, I don't
Especially
think
in the gyms you train at. Your gyms are, that's one thing that I do find is interesting is when trainers do that because I'm always aware of who's using everything around me.
Sure.
Like literally everything, even if I'm not going to use it. I know that the lady in pink is doing this glute blaster. Like I just know. I don't know why. I pay attention. So it's weird to me that you not only did you know who it was, but you literally watched me undo it and turn my back.
Yeah.
And you thought, I won't ask.
Yeah.
I'll just slip in here.
Change everything. Change the weight. Change the handle.
Yeah. I don't even like when Nikki moves the seat of my freaking truck. I'm like, just drive it where I sit. Figure it out. Mirrors moved. Ridiculous.
You haven't programmed her in on the door yet? Isn't she driver number 2?
There should be no driver number 2s in your truck.
See, I have a system. The top one is me driving. Number 2 is the mirrors down so I can see the lines on the ground when I park.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
And then number 3 is mirrors in, seat back, nap.
When he's taking a nap
position.
I knew that the nap was there.
Wow.
I like it. Should actually say N instead of 3. N.
Number 3 is nap. Yeah. So that's my seat. Anyways, sidebar.
The sunroof closes in so it gets darker.
Yeah. The windows auto tint to get darker, like James Bond's car.
That is beautiful. Now everyone's looking at picking up a new Ford Explorer. Okay.
I feel like I just shared something really personal.
Yeah.
Is your car white, by the way?
Yes.
I hate you. I hate driving down the road and a white Explorer pulls in behind me and I have to question, is that a cop? Is it not a cop? I hate that. It
never even crossed my mind. I've always liked white SUVs and it never even crossed my mind. And then after I got it, I was like, why do people drive really slow in front of me all the time?
Huh. They don't do the white here anymore in Detroit. They're all black cars or brown.
We
or
do
silver.
both.
Okay, yeah.
I feel like in a proper game of cops and robbers, there should be some sort of a sign that says you're a cop.
Mm-hmm.
Because my big ass truck is the sign that I am a robber. Like this is not fair, right? It's not fair.
I don't even remember.
I got pulled over in a school
talking
zone
about
last week.
Ooh.
What were you doing? Stalking a school?
I pull in, all right? I'm not thinking, I'm pulling, driving, and I see him, and I'm like, oh. And he flips around. I don't even like hit the brakes. I just keep going.
Yeah.
Pulls me over, and he walks up. He's like, hey. I'm like, what's up, man? I already had my stuff out, handing out the window. He's like, you know why I pulled you over? I was like, yeah, I was going way too fast. He goes, 42 and a 25. He goes, you know this is school zone? I'm like, well, I'm heading to pick up a kid, so you'd think I'd know that. And he goes, yeah. He walks away, comes back. He's like, how long you been here? I said, because my plates are in Arizona. I said, I still have both because my business is in Arizona. He goes, oh, cool. Yeah. Slow down. See you later. I was like, my man.
Lucky.
I think he was just shocked that I looked him right in the face. I was like, yeah, I'm very clear on why you pulled me over. I was driving like an asshole.
Yeah.
Not bad.
That's how I talk to cops.
They don't want to hear like lies and excuses because they know, you know.
Nah. Yeah, but I actually been ages since I was pulled over, but
you were doing your job is why you pulled me over. I feel you, bro.
Yeah. So we did have, like I said, a critique. It was a listener critique, a guy from Patreon. I'm gonna see if I can pull these pictures up. He says,
if he's on Patreon, are we going to lie to him or are we going to be honest?
We got to be truthful. He got in pretty good shape, so there is that. Okay, he's got that coming to him.
Just wanted to make sure I knew the rules of this game.
He says, hey, Scott and crew, I have a question that I wanted to throw at the crew. Let's see. You guys are an integral part of my bodybuilding. Wow, he says from PED radio and Bodybuilding Nerds radio to present. So that was like the shows we were doing in like 2015 and before that.
We're definitely lying. Got it.
That's cool.
He's asking for a physique critique. And he says the tanned pictures were from the Colorado Cup 822. And then where he took the overall in bodybuilding and classic at 181. Then he says the frosty pictures, which are basically not tan, are from North Americans a few weeks later, where I sucked down to middles and I ended up at the bottom of first callouts for both bodybuilding and classic at 176. Looks like he works with Phil Viz. He says Viz and I plan to put on some size on my arms and legs and then sucked down to 182 for classic in a national show to do in the next year or two. He says, any feedback would be great. Planning on focusing on classic for my second crack at the card. Thanks a million. So here were the shows where this is the show where he was a little heavier.
Oh.
And
he's nasty sliced. Love it.
Yeah, he sure is.
Don't have to lie. That's good.
But wait, because he gets leaner. And then I didn't grab all the pictures. Here's one more. And you guys can tell me if you want me to bring anything back. I'm just going to put them all up first. And then here, check this out. This is definitely leaner. This was North Americans. I didn't grab.
Yeah, he's peeled.
Yeah, I didn't grab all those pictures.
Freaking peeled.
Yes.
Yeah, so he looks great in the first round, but he's definitely that next level conditioning. It's
Give us more on the glutes. We got more frosty ones.
You know
the
what?
Glutes appear.
I might.
Yeah, the glutes appear harder in the frosty ones.
Yeah. So it was 4 pounds difference, but he's wondering what our critique is. What should he?
I want to see
here?
if he had the side, but the what did he weigh in the frosty ones? 176.
176. He was 181 at the other show.
And what can he be at the national level show?
It looks like 182. Sucked down to 182 for a classic at the national.
So he can put size on.
Oh
yeah.
He's got room to put on size, and here's the deal: come in the condition you were frosty at 182, because I don't see that you lost anything in your look. Really, I think you look improved, but you just went to a bigger show. I mean, it's simple.
Yeah.
You know, because he's still like, look at his back, look at the thickness up top, not even the lower back, not the condition. Like
just
the
make
density.
sure.
Yeah.
Make sure you're in that condition again. Like make sure you're that shredded. That's what that's all you got to focus on. You know, if your year yielded muscle, the muscle will be there.
Yeah.
You know, just come in that condition.
If you guys,
if you look at that front lat or that front ab and thigh, you can still see his chest is still really full with his hands over his head in the frosty pick. So there's no lack of fullness there. It's just harder. So put on muscle and get sliced like that again. And whatever you weigh, obviously you got to be under 182. But
and those that Christmas tree is sick.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. You know, that's
So is there anything
that's crazy.
specific you would say, like you need to bring up this, or you need to improve that, or is it just an everything thing, or what do you guys think?
That's kind of off-season stuff. I was kind of just looking at like show, but I mean, you can never have too big of arms. I mean, he just kind of needs size everywhere because he's got good flow and he's got good shape. Like from the back, he's got good structure. He just needs to be bigger. But I'd say, bring the arms up for sure. And everything else just come up evenly. Like, I don't know. There's nothing like he even has calves, there's nothing that's like, not there. What do you think, Dusty?
It's more. No, I agree. It's that when you're, it's funny, but it's a compliment when the answer is you just need more. That is it. And the arms did catch me a little. So I would say that would be a focal point. Cause I think especially with classic, having some big arms is definitely helpful. So, and you got room. I mean, if you're talking about 6 pounds of pure muscle,
How tall is he?
How tall is he again? Muscle.
I don't think he said height. Yeah, I didn't say height.
Yeah. So
6 pounds is a lot. So
yeah, if you think of 6 pounds of hamburger
off your waist,
yeah. Take 6 pounds of hamburger and pack it on each arm and delt, and a bit on your back and a bit on your quads, and it's a lot of meat.
Yeah.
I think it's funny that people don't think of that when they think of adding muscle mass. When they're like, "Oh yeah, so I did this cycle and I put on 20 pounds of muscle." I'm like, no.
Do you realize?
You've seen 20, 20 pounds of steak.
You ever went and picked up 20 pounds of steak at once? You think you dropped that on yourself in 12 weeks.
With all the fat trimmed off of it too.
Yeah.
20 pounds of steak.
Pure shredded steak is what landed on you in 12 weeks.
Yeah.
I got a guy actually argue with me once about that because I said a great gain, would be 12 pounds of pure muscle in a year.
Oh, it'd be a lot, man. If you could do that, you'd be 50 pounds heavier, plus.
That's what I said. I always say 3 years is 36 pounds. Think about what 36 pounds would look like.
Yeah.
Real muscle.
And then some guy's like, I put that on in a cycle. I'm like, no, you haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I tell everyone my first cycle, this is how I look at it. My first cycle, I went from, I think I was 225 when I started. And it was just the D-ball. I've talked about it before, 8 weeks of D-ball. And I went to like 235. So I gained about 10 pounds. And then after the cycle, I dropped down to 227. And I was at 227 for like ages, like 6 months. So I always say, I gained 2 pounds of muscle on my first cycle.
Right.
And like, that sounds so pathetic, but I mean, my bench went up like 50 pounds a side and it was, to me, it was 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Here's another F-bomb for you.
Two.
I think
It goes in pairs. I'll leave a couple in this episode and we'll see what happens.
We're well above 5 for the record.
Yeah.
We're well above 5, Matthew Damon.
Damon would be proud. Damon would be proud.
The best part was you both went 2 at the same time.
We had talked about like gym fights and the throwing things through drywall. In UC Suma, Matt Marshall, who's also been to West Coast Iron. He said the most memorable fight I can remember is when I was younger. A guy's girlfriend and wife showed up to surprise him at the same time. Hilarity ensued.
That's fantastic.
Oh, wow.
That is a good one.
Like they came together in the same car?
No, I think they like both were like, maybe it was his birthday or something. They're like, I'm going to go and surprise him at the gym. Oh, that's what I gather,
Oh,
that's
man.
phenomenal. That's phenomenal.
See,
we had one of
I
those at our gym here, actually. And the best part about the South to me is that the other woman is also a woman who on Instagram and everything is always posting about her happy family and all this stuff. And she's pole jockeying some guy that's married at the gym for months. And I'm like, that's interesting. But yeah, he doesn't train there anymore, but his wife still does. And I appreciate that. I'm like, that a girl. Funny. She's like, get out of my gym. It's a positive move.
Pretty funny. Yeah, you always wonder who's going to get the gym.
Yeah, that's.
Did you ever see that? Yeah. There was a thing that went out. Same situation happened to a guy online, and his girlfriend and other girlfriend, I guess, like got together and they decided to punk him. They would post a picture and tag him and you know, so they tag him and he reshares it in his stories and just says, "My two girls both looking great." It's like, that's genius. Doesn't back down, just rolls it right back at him. I'd be like, now what do you do?
Yeah.
He just made a strong announcement that he doesn't
You
give
move. You
two
move
freaks
quickly.
Yeah. He's just ready to just abort both of them.
Yep.
Just start
Just
fresh.
exploded it.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Well, that's
Immediately.
over.
Yeah, that's over. No, like,
no,
hey, baby.
but there's no
you don't
drama if you do
understand.
that. You just let it
Yeah.
explode.
Yeah.
You don't know what happened. Let me explain. Just nothing. Just share.
Share. Done.
Done.
Street cred through the roof, and neither of them ever called him again.
Just clean my room.
Oh, good stuff. What else we got, Scott?
All right. So,
I have to say, I remember my story about my buddy Derek throwing the barbell through the wall.
yes.
So I talked to him on Facebook,
There you go.
and he said when the episode began, he heard me say that little clip that you put about, you
Yep.
just chucked the bar through the wall, and he
Yep.
turned to his wife. He said, "Oh, I think this is about me."
I think this is about me.
He goes, "I think this is about me," and his wife's like, "What?" Yeah.
Amazing.
And he said that that's exactly how it happened. He said, you remembered exactly how it happened. He came in, grabbed the bar, speared it through the wall, just pitched it through. It like skidded on the floor. Yeah.
Wait, did it go straight through?
Yeah, he speared it through. Just threw it through like a
I
spear.
thought it just like punched it. I didn't realize it
Oh,
kept
no, he
sliding.
chucked
right
it
through.
threw it right through the wall.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's the greatest story ever. I love that his wife was like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, so imagine
That's
it
me.
blowing out the other side of the wall and like landing on the floor.
Yeah. Imagine being
With
on the
all
other side of the wall.
all the busted up sheetrock everywhere. Oh, that's great.
yeah.
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 When you said you were like, that might not have been what happened, but that's how I remember. I thought you were saying that to like give him an out. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, no, he messaged me. He's like, that's exactly what happened. So I just I felt good about my memory at least.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It wasn't like a manufactured
Yeah.
pieced together memory.
Well, see, I thought you knew, but you were like doing that for
Right.
like I could have been wrong. You know, maybe.
I was like hoping I was pretty correct.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So Ted from Patreon has some over-unders for us, and you got a couple decent ones in there.
Thanks, Ted.
So Ted says some over-unders for It's Just Bodybuilding. McDonald's breakfast is the first one.
Drastic over for me.
Huge over. Just like disgusting.
Why?
Yeah.
Oh,
Same
I just
food. It's plastic.
yeah.
What about
That's
compared to their
the-
other food? How about that though?
No, so the problem is when I've had that, because I mean, in the last year I've had that, thinking, oh, I just got to get somewhere, getting on the road. It's like swallowing a brick and then driving somewhere. I mean, it just sits in your stomach. It weighs 36
Yeah.
pounds. It was two little sandwiches. Terrible.
Yeah,
Oh, terrible.
McDonald's breakfast is a lesson I learned a long, long time ago, and I try to live my life where I don't have to learn lessons repeatedly. There's some lessons I've, taught myself a couple thousand times, but I try to minimize that. And McDonald's breakfast is one of the ones that I've been able to not doing that.
Yeah.
Doing that twice. All right.
I would rather, I'm in a stage of my life where I would just fast.
Okay.
I would just go, oh, this is a challenge. I got no food except for McDonald's. No, I'm just going to drink a liter of water, and I'm going to David Goggins this right up, and I'm just going to kick into fat burning mode for 3 more hours till I get home.
Yeah. If there's a McDonald's, then there's a gas station nearby. And I've actually been fascinated at what is in a gas station. Like if you want to eat decently, you can in a gas station. Like we're not talking about pulling out a great, flawless meal, but there is food there that like you said, I could satiate myself for the rest of my trip without swallowing a brick. So yeah, no.
Yeah. And there's even things that in my mind are better alternatives. Like, for example, I've seen I don't know if it was 7-Elevens, but in some sort of gas station where there's like roasted chicken wings. Like they're not even, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're like, if you just tore a bunch of the meat off that and just ate that, you'd get like a bunch of actual real chicken meat. And you'd have some fat in there too, obviously, because they're not the leanest. It's not the leanest cut of meat, but you'd actually have real meat, and you would know no carbs at all.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So there's like that angle. Like at least you're getting real chicken, you know, because it's always a thing. Like, is it real meat? Like, you know, that's why I don't eat that sort of stuff, because most of the time it's not. But the odd time I'll notice, I'm like, oh, that's actually like a meat that's edible.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So.
I ate there twice this year, McDonald's. Neither of them were breakfast. In the airport on my way to Manchester, and then in Manchester. Because then when I got there, I was like, I've never been to England before. I wonder if their McDonald's is the same. Guess what? It is. But the people are nicer inside. There was that. And there was a guy by the trash can who was like, here, let me take that for you, sir. It was quite an experience. There was that.
That's funny.
That.
Yeah. I would still say over, especially for the breakfast. Because even if you like it, You get like 2 sandwiches and a coffee, and it's like $14, and those sandwiches are a lot smaller than if you were to buy lunch and get, you know, like big old burger and fries. So
Yeah.
there's that. Number 2, over underrated, Cbum's mustache anabolic ratio.
2 factors for that. You know this is true. Number 1, it only works for Chris.
Many try.
And I want people to understand that when they stop it, because they just look like they're trying to pretend to be cops. So, no good. Second thing is, I think that Chris actually does that because his physique is better than all of ours. Fucking door.
He's muting the wrong part and unmuting the wrong part.
Who rings a doorbell?
Not during a podcast. Ron, take over.
See, I just love seeing the chaos at Dusty's house occasionally.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, he loves that. He loves how he was making a point and now he's interrupted.
He was, yeah.
Yeah, you know. I'll say this. Like you said, it only works for Chris. And what I was going to say was, you know, it's very overrated because Chris would be Chris without it. That was my point.
Yeah, but would we recognize him walking down the street?
I
don't know.
Like
He has a beard in the off season. We would still recognize him.
Yeah, that's true.
Like Clark Kent with the glasses.
Yeah, you don't even know it's Superman anymore as soon as glasses are on.
Ron, was that you that sent us that video at the Olympia of a guy who pretended to be Chris and he put on like a fake mustache and a hoodie? And
Yeah, he put on the Carhartt jacket.
Yeah. And he he was walking through the Olympia and people were like, "Oh man, what's up, brother?" And he ended up like taking pictures. It started out
that guy's belt. Like, just imagine that guy's got like everyone on his belt for real. He's got Kai Green. He's got Phil Heath. He's been carrying that belt around. I'm just building this up in my head. Like, what was that belt that he signed? Like, was that a belt that guy's taken? Because I've signed the odd belt that has been taken to like every expo and has like dozens of names on it, right? That person is really collecting. Yeah. And then I've seen belts where they just like happen to buy a belt that day at the expo and they just happen to get a few guys to sign it, right?
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a difference, but it's still that guy's belt, and you're not Chris Bumstead.
What do you do though?
You were that day.
Yeah. Oh, what do you do? Do you tell, as Chris Bumstead, do you tell him, no, I'm not going to sign your belt? I mean,
it's even worse now. Chris Bumstead is a
Right.
So it's
like
he did the
right thing. He did the right thing.
Did the right thing. But I guess the main thing I'd have the problem with is including that like I guess what the guy doesn't know won't hurt him. You know,
until he sees the video.
Valid.
And then he sees the video and now he's like crushed. He's like, I'm the guy. I imagine.
But he went into it with like the hood on, and I think he had glasses on, and he had handlers around him.
Just keep walking.
Yeah,
just keep walking.
He just kept walking, kept his head down. But by the end, he was like hoodie off, hitting poses with people, and everybody was like just lighting it up, taking pictures and stuff. It's wild.
It's funny.
All right, next one was specialty bars, like trap bars, Swiss bars, yolks, etc.
Well, I'm gonna say overrated for me, but I guess if you're a power lifter, maybe they're underrated. I don't know. That one's like hard because they're not really things that I feel I need. You know what I mean? So to me, they'd be overrated. Like I never use. We have a safety squat bar that I would use if I squatted more, but I never really used a trap bar, Swiss bar. I never really used anything like that. So I'd say overrated.
I'm with you. I also think that oftentimes they're overrated if you don't need them for what you do, is what you kind of nailed just now. Because I see people using like a trap bar to avoid learning how to deadlift.
Yeah.
I really do think that that's a lot of the issues. Like, you cannot sell me on the idea that a trap bar deadlift is more valuable than a deadlift. So just learn how to do it. There are other bars, like you said, that have their value if that's within your wheelhouse. But if you're bodybuilding or physique building, I don't think it's really necessary.
Okay. Couple more. We'll make them quick. BCAAs by themselves.
I'm going to say underrated now because everyone now craps on them. Can I say craps?
Yeah. I get where you're going with this.
Think you're allowed.
You know what I'm saying? So, 10 years ago, they were overrated. Now they're underrated because everyone says they're garbage, and they absolutely have their place. I can tell a difference when I use them. The end. And everyone's like, those are garbage. You should only use EAAs. Those will kill you, or whatever they say. I'm like, it's the trend that's trying to get me, but whatever.
All right.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, chucks for lifting. This was an easy one, I think, for Dusty.
Of course it's underrated. Go ahead, Ron. We'll give you the real answer now.
My answer to this is I get how it's good to be aware of what's going on with your feet, and I get that it's good to understand how things work and all that stuff. But I think that it is one of the things that has gone way off track for how important it actually is to most people. Yeah. Some people have collapsed arches. Some people have all these problems with their feet. Some people can just wear whatever shoe they want to the gym to train. You're fine. You don't need any, like, as a bodybuilder.
It's coming.
Yeah, I'm trying not to. As a bodybuilder, I wore I liked Adidas high tops. I used to train in basketball shoes all the time. I did 1 million sets of squats in basketball shoes, 1 million sets of leg press in Adidas and in Converse Cons, and I wore all those, like all the high tops, and wore all that stuff. Trained in anything. The only thing we used to say is, you don't want to squat with like springy running shoes, like stuff that has like low, the stuff that's for running that has like a real springy heel, the Nike Shocks and stuff. We used to always just be aware of like that type of shoe. Like, it's kind of weird to squat in because you can feel yourself moving more. But we just trained in whatever we were wearing because that was the shoe we liked to wear for gym fashion. Like, that was the only thought we had in our head. The whole thing about feet, like literally the first memory I have in bodybuilding of anyone giving a shit what you were wearing for shoes was in around 2008 when Ben Pekulski started wearing Vibrams.
I remember that.
That was the pinnacle, like the moment when all of a sudden everyone was talking about what shoes should you wear at the gym. Up until that moment, nobody had anything really to say about it. Powerlifters wore Chucks, but it was just kind of a thing that you're like, oh yeah, he's powerlifters wearing Chucks, but we didn't really talk about it. It wasn't really that big of a deal. And then the foot thing came in, and all that stuff about should you have your heels, anything under your heels, should you have a totally flat foot? And then squat shoes came in. They became a thing with elevated heel. Guys are bringing another pair of shoes just to squat in, and all that stuff. But up until like 2007, 8, nobody cared.
Yeah.
You did so good there. So good.
That was perfect.
About not swearing. The rest of it was fine too.
I could tell he wanted to a couple times,
Yeah, I felt it too.
I felt a little pressure. Solid. I had a little pressure.
You brought it back.
And I agree 1,000,000%. And I have to say, just because it's funny, the majority of anything that I do in regards to what carbs I drink or what shoes I wear is just because I like it. I buy Chucks because I'm cheap with tennis shoes and I like them and I can have multiple pairs because I like them to match my hat because I'm like a 10-year-old just like you, Ron. And that's
And if
the
something happens to
whole
him,
reason behind it. Like, that's it. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, those are $50 and they're still cool. And
and you
I'm
just replace
also
them whenever you need to.
Yeah.
I'm also cautious of the fact that when you are 41 years old and a really cool new style comes out, you have to remind yourself, I'm 41. And if I buy those shoes, I will look like a 41-year-old trying to look like I'm 25. And I am not. So I'll just keep my old man Chucks on over here until I'm old enough to start wearing some New Balance and mowing the lawn, you know?
There you go.
No biggie.
All right, this one wasn't a question. I thought it was a good idea, though, so I wanted to put it up for our audience. He says, hi, Ron, Dusty, and Scott. Really appreciate the content. I find myself watching you guys weekly and really appreciate the humor, knowledge, and banter. I was thinking of a segment where you guys show someone's top set of the week, either one of the guys or a listener submitted one. It would be entertaining, and you guys could give pointers as necessary. Thanks for all the work you put in. And I'm going to tell people if they want to post something like over at the Think Big Facebook group for top set of the week and we see something good over there and I can remember, I'd be happy to bring it into the show. That'd be cool, you know?
Yeah, I don't mind that idea. In fact, I already did something like that when we used to do our live show from the Mutant office back in 2015-16 when we were streaming live over YouTube. We would do these Mutant live broadcasts. We would announce them on Facebook, and we'd have a bunch of people watching on Facebook. And it was like a newsroom type show. I would give an update. I would talk about our trip to the Arnold Classic. I would, introduce a segment where we'd show a fan doing like set of the week.
That's cool.
Right? Yeah. And then I'd get set of the week from one of the mutants. So maybe I'd message Dusty and say, hey, can you send us a set this week? And I'll air it on the show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so we did that sort of stuff on we used to call it Mutant Live.
I like that.
Yeah. So that was like a long time ago, but that's a cool thing that it gets people going too. Cause
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was thinking. I feel
people
like
post a set and other people come on and go, you had one more.
Yeah. What about this one from Chris? He says, question for the next episode. I've been playing with the idea of opening a small gym, not open to the public, just for personal clients that I train under supervision, personal training. Do you think this can work? I'm already satisfied to have more space for my home gym so I can get in more machines for myself. And the clients would be a bonus.
Of course, it's a good idea.
Of course, it can work. Yeah. I know lots of people that do that for a living. They never leave their house.
Yeah.
The biggest thing to look at in that scenario, this is all business options, is literally stop saying, can it work, and saying, how does it work? Because people that have done it. So it can work. How do I make it work? Once you figure out that part, you're set. I mean, like Ron said, I know guys that literally started their home gym during that word I can't say that 2 years ago took place, where we all couldn't go to the gym.
That's when I started.
And then now that's their whole business. Because now they're like, oh, my clients come here. And then they're like, why would I change this? I have this gym. I don't leave the house. Everyone's a winner. We're not waiting for stuff. Yeah. But just figure it out and make it work. I mean, plus you have a gym for yourself. And if you ever want out of it, you sell the equipment.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. How about a question about proteins? Johan, who's been commenting on a lot of our stuff, real supportive listener. He says,
thank you, sir.
I would like to know if there's any major downside to using a protein blend post-workout instead of ordinary whey. I'm already using a blend to make a protein paste together with my oatmeal and thinking of using it post-workout as well, since I like the taste and consistency better. If I recall Skip mentioning something about blends on an episode of Blood, Sweat, and Gear, but didn't go into depth about it. Thanks.
Absolutely. Like when he says blend, what exactly does he mean? I'm thinking
whey,
just
casein, egg, protein all mixed together.
Yeah, that's completely fine. Like no worries at all. Just do your thing.
That's the reason that's brought up is because that's back to what we talked about a couple of weeks ago, where we used to have that big push. You needed whey right after you train because it digested quicker and all that.
Yeah.
Keep in mind that I jam down the I like to eat whole foods. The majority of my day is whole foods, and oftentimes post-workout is whole foods. I think we overthink that. I mean,
yeah.
it's just not the end of the world. So yeah, if you like it better, rock it. You're buying one less protein too.
Yeah. All right. Jay says, Ron Dusty, I already read that one. Never mind.
Good job.
Yeah. Kenneth says, question for Ron. I know you're into guitar, but if the two rock gods had a drum solo challenge between Neil Peart and John Bonham, who wins? He says, also, I signed up for Patreon, but I'm on TDI for kidney failure. Gonna do surgery for the port sometime in February. Once I'm back financially, I'm going to contribute to you guys. Listen, anybody who's on kidney issues, anybody going to the hospital, please don't send any of your money to Patreon. Save your money, all of it. In fact, you know what? Patreon's good for people that have that, like $5 extra if they can contribute to us. But if you need it, please don't send it. We want you to be able to eat your food and pay your medical bills first. Sorry, Ron, I had to say that. You know what I'm saying?
No, totally.
Yeah. But we appreciate everybody who can.
Yeah. No, definitely. What? Sorry, I forgot the first part of the question because I got.
Yeah, Neil Peart.
Oh yeah, the two rock. Yeah,
and John
Neil
Bonham.
Peart and John Bonham. Yeah.
Who's Neil Peart? I don't even know.
Neil Peart's the drummer from Rush.
Oh, he's good, huh?
Yeah, he's and the progressive.
Yeah.
That complicated, like all the weird timing signatures that Rush had, and they were like that, real prog band, right? And so prog drummers are often the best. I mean, Danny Carey from Tool also. I mean, Tool's very progressive in their metal genre, right? So Neil Peart and John Bonham, I mean, for me, John Bonham would win that. He's, to me, he was that classic 70s drummer, like in Led Zeppelin, right? So that to me, it would be what I would go with. I was never a massive Rush fan, but I just really appreciate their level of musicianship and all that. And I actually appreciate Rush more now than I've ever appreciated them. It's still just not like, they're not one of my favorite bands. But like when they used to come on, I used to actually turn the station because I didn't really like Rush. But then as I got more like appreciative of the musicians that my favorite bands keep listing, you know what I mean? Like you see an interview with one of your favorite musicians and they mention Rush. And they all mention Rush. You're like, I should really like give Rush more of a chance, So I eventually I can handle them now. But yeah.
I just love that you know all their names of a band you don't even really enjoy. You're like, oh, well, that's the band. He was born in 1937, and why do you know this?
Well, we're Canadian too, so we know that Rush is Geddy Lee on the bass singing,
obviously,
Alex Lifeson on guitar, and Neil Peart on the drums. We just know that we're Canadians. It's in the DNA.
That's why I don't know, because I'm not Canadian. Thank God. I thought I was just dumb. Anyways.
We just know it. Maple syrup comes from trees. Beavers build dams.
Beavers, never mind. Do you have anything else?
Drummer for Rush.
And that is all we had for listener questions this week.
Well,
that's
I know Dusty
solid
had,
week.
I know Dusty had a few. Can we do a few years, Dusty?
Yes.
I feel like
I have one.
5 minutes.
I have one that I have to point out, and this is possibly judgment. It's definitely judgment, but I don't care.
Oh,
but I got to bring it up. And Ron, don't say if you get into this one, but
you're going to trigger Ron. Is that what you're saying right now?
I think it will, because I think he'll understand me. Okay, so a pet peeve of mine with our industry is people who, while they're bodybuilding, let their entire life fall apart around them.
Yes.
Their relationships go to hell. Their job goes to hell. All these things go to hell. When I see someone post their pictures on Instagram and their kitchen has dirty clothes on the counter and objects, I won't say the S word, all over the frickin' place, I can't even look at your physique, because I'm like, your life is a disaster. And I know it's a disaster, not just because it's a disaster, because you posted that picture and thought nothing of it. You just, here I am, and all I see is that you have panties on the damn countertop, a stack of them. And then I'm psychotic. So I go to your page and I scroll down and I realize that all of your pictures look that way. 6 months ago, your progress pictures look like that. Oh, and then I find out you're a trainer, and I think, you can't possibly be organized enough to take my money if that's your kitchen. Okay, I'm good. I saw that at 2 a.m. the other day. I sent it to 5 people. I lost my mind. I was like, how do you live like this? And then I just assume that your entire life is a disaster. I'm like, but you got a good bicep.
But you're shredded.
Anyways, go ahead.
Dusty, I am like very also, no, I'm very judgmental with certain things. And I like, you see those hilarious pictures of like, the chick showing her ass in the mirror, but there's like a log in the toilet.
Yeah. Or
like
a child standing there.
Yeah. Like it's just funny. Like the, awareness sort of thing that you notice the odd thing. You're like, they didn't look at this picture. This is a disaster.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, that was my big one. That was not a viewer thing, just me. How do you feel about that, Scott?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I get it. I feel like I had been on that end of things at one time. I feel like before I had worked for myself, there was like a 3-4 year period of time where I did not have the organization that I have now, and I'm still not great at it. But I feel like I would at least, if I were still in that place, I would at least pick up my panties off of the table and put them in a drawer.
You have those, but
yeah,
go ahead.
yeah, right. Before I took the picture, like I don't know. I feel like you should at least just move the camera over here. I don't know. I'm all about still having a good picture, even if my life was a disaster. You should, if your life is a disaster, you should still put it out there on Instagram that you've got it all together, people.
Lie to us. Lie to us. No, but it is. I mean, it's just weird to me. It's just, it really is, because I'm like, I didn't even look at you.
Yeah.
I didn't even look at you. Okay, so there's a couple more that actually were really solid. This is another one that came up at the gym today. So, but I had to point it out because I want to know if it happens in your gym, Ron.
Okay.
So, and I feel like this is back to our government's doing a great job of brainwashing. So a very, very regular thing in our gym is for someone to get done, go get the towel and the sanitary spray everything, wipe it down, and then leave all their weights and walk away.
That's a thing, huh?
And I mean, I'm not talking about one person. It happens on, I'm like, listen, dude, you were sitting in a t-shirt. You're not training hard enough to sweat. I don't even care if you spray it down, but if you could just take your weights off.
Yeah.
Like, if I need it sprayed, I can do that myself when I get there. Like, and I know someone's over there going, oh, I need it clean. I really don't care.
Yeah.
No.
But leaving, like, I don't understand how, so you have the wherewithal to know that you should clean. I mean, they're cleaning the handles of dumbbells and then leaving them on the floor. I'm like,
what?
Yeah, and it's the normal thing. I see it literally all the time.
I've never seen that.
So is that a thing?
Yeah, I've never seen that.
No. I wish everyone would get past the spraying everything. The only thing that you have to spray and wipe down is if you sweat on something. Like,
yes.
if you're
really bad
like
equipment.
wet. Yeah, but I mean, we have hand sanitizers all over the gym. You stick your hand under them and you go like that, and your hands, kills everything on your hands. So, you shouldn't even actually have to wipe any of the handles down, because you should just use hand sanitizer every once in a while and you're fine. But some people still want to wipe machines. You don't have to. Some people are obsessive about it. Obviously, it's a courtesy thing. So if you sweat on something, you should wipe it down.
Yeah.
But, some people have like a hoodie on. They're not sweating on anything, like a hammer row or something. There's nothing to wipe. Like, I don't care.
Yeah. Very, very odd to me. And this was a good question that I thought I'd ask you guys. Why does the word influencer come with a negative connotation?
Well, it's because anyone can claim it, so there's no like standard of anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
like it's not like you have to be certified as like, oh, if you make, if you're making $5,000 a month from your Instagram, you can classify yourself as classified as a, significant income and call yourself an influencer. It's nothing like that. There's a whole bunch of people out there that are influencers that actually make no money at all from their social media.
Nor are they influencing anyone.
Nor are they actually influencing anything. It's all an illusion that they're creating to try to like fake it till they make it. It's the ultimate example. So, and I see it everywhere. Like, hey guys, today we're testing this product. It's awesome, blah, 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 blah. And they make it sound like the company sent it to them for free for them to do the episode.
Yeah.
But they bought it and just did the episode to create content and put it out there, and no one actually paid them at all. So there's a lot of that. But if they do that sort of stuff, they can appear to align with brands. They can show off the new watch of whatever brand. And if they do it enough times, people start to like literally think that they're sponsored by that watch.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of like that sort of stuff going on too. You have to like, read between the lines and look for the actual links,
Yeah.
I thought it was funny because that question came up, and simultaneously I asked a friend of mine about a property that they have up in Montana that like they do everything. You can go skeet shoot, you can do all this kind of stuff, and they own this huge ranch. And I was like, as soon as I realized he had it, I'm like, oh, I'm in. I'm gonna definitely look at dates and come become a customer of yours. And he sends back to me. He says, he goes, we actually do influencer packages. So I'll set you with the price. Sorry to use that word. And I literally responded back with, I go, I love that word. It pays my bills because I stopped being a bodybuilder 5 years ago, and I'm still making money from bodybuilding. So I think it's funny because like the general public has decided it's a bad word. And I'm like, oh, no.
Right.
I love that word. It's the only reason Ron and I still exist.
I like that take. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So it was just a funny thing that happened. Literally, I got that question, and then he and I were texting. I'm like, oh, no. This is a good word. And I'm like, I also think it's awesome that a place like that actually does it, because I'm like, that makes perfect sense. I mean, I could totally see the amount of content I could create there and the fun, and people would definitely be down. So it was an interesting piece, which I will be going and will be posting, and we'll be talking about it from there. So it'll be pretty sick.
That's cool.
Yeah. Very awesome. Cool. But yeah, I thought that was interesting.
I got to say, I remember the first time somebody called me an influencer, and it was early on in the development of that word. It was Becky, who does my, or at the time was doing my deep tissue work. And she said something, and she said, well, you're an influencer. She was like, that's what you do. I was like, huh, okay. I thought about it for a minute, and I was like, okay, I guess I kind of am an influencer. I don't see myself that way,
Right.
And we do it in a different way, I think. But also I used to tell people that I had a podcast years ago. Like, what do you do? Well, I'm a coach and I'm a podcaster. And people are like, oh, podcaster, what's that? And nowadays, if you say, oh, I'm a podcaster, then the response is, my sister has a podcast.
Yeah. We're at that stage in the development of the culture. We're in the my sister has a podcast level of development. Yeah.
Which it's interesting. I remember in a history of photography class, there was a point in history where only people who were very rich and people who really knew what they were doing could take a photograph. It was very complicated equipment. It was very expensive. It was hard to get a hold of. And then they developed something they called the hand camera. And that was a camera that you just had in a little box in your hand and you clicked it. And like all the old OG photographers, they all said, at this point, photography is dead. Because they thought this is it. It's like in the hands of the normal average person. But the reality is, I mean, look at what's happened with photography since. That was like in the 1910s or 20s, something like that,
Right.
Which, yeah. So I don't know. It's interesting.
100 years ago, photography's dead.
Yeah. The development of the hand camera. And then it just blew up from there, So I always think of that as a similar type thing,
So I have a good one that we could probably close out on since we're getting close to the end here. Biggest mistake you made in your bodybuilding career? I know it's a tough one, and I've made so many. It's very tricky. Um, can I do 5 of the biggest? Never mind.
Yeah.
I think I got just a little bit too heavy several times, and it made it difficult for me to get in the type of condition that, like, there was several years where I looked really good, but I was like, fuck, I just wasn't quite where I wanted to be, you know, because I was in really good shape several times, but there were also like a handful where I don't know. I think the end result, you just want to look, can you look better at any of those shows? You know, you think there's a few I could have looked better at. But is the regret more of like a training thing long term? Like I shouldn't have hurt my back or something like that. You know,
Right.
I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to say.
What about you, Scott?
I can think of a lot. But the one that I think really sticks out to me is that, and this is kind of like a twofold. So, you know, I moved back to Michigan and I took a blue collar job and left my life. You know, I went to school for photography, left all that behind, and I wanted to rethink my life. And at the time, that's when I got back into training and I got serious with it. And I didn't really focus on my job at all. I just took a job. That I'd worked it while I'd gone through college. And then from there, the company went under, so I took another job. And that's when I started working for the pop company. And I just was like, I'm just working my job. And it allows me to do the things I want to do, bodybuild, and I can eat meals when I want. And that's all I cared about. And I didn't think about like trying to excel at that job because I really didn't like it. But like I said, it was comfortable. And so I stayed there. But so that was one problem. The other problem was I expended so many calories doing a job that I didn't like. Like I got to a point where I could eat McDonald's every day on top of all my food and I still had abs. Like it was really, really hard for me to grow because I needed to eat so much food. And eventually it went to like adding crap food, and then I screwed up my digestion. And really, when I look back at it, it was a job I didn't really care about. I should have taken another job that it could have been another job I didn't care about. I don't care, you know, whatever it was, but I could have done something else and been able to grow better in bodybuilding, not having to push my digestion as hard as I did. That would have probably been, honestly, for me, the single biggest mistake that I probably made.
Nice. That makes sense.
In a twofold way, you know. I could have focused on my job too, right? Like
I
a better
cheated.
job. Yeah.
I cheated by letting you guys answer first so I could think longer. And I figured it out, though, during you guys' answers. So the biggest mistake I made in bodybuilding was not being present along the way. I didn't start getting like pictures and things like that from memories until I had air quote made it. And I wish now in hindsight I had more of the like I have the memories, but I wish I had them on paper from all those times. Like the times when you were just, you know, like for example, on Sunday, me and 2 of my buddies train. It's the only day we train together. Every Sunday we train legs. And it feels like my entire life when I was younger. I would just meet my boys at the gym. The goal was to kill ourselves before we went home. And we're doing that now once a week. And I'm like, man, I wish I would have realized that those were some of the best times of my bodybuilding. We're just me and the boys in the gym. Like of all the great memories I have in shows and travel, even when you break it down, and I know Ron will agree with this, like some of my greatest mutant memories are Ron and I at the gym training. It's like, so when you realize that as the higher end of your career, you realize I had that for years. And I think a lot of people that are chasing this, whether it's the pro card or the influencer or whatever, aren't realizing they're already in the coolest part of the process.
Yeah.
Which is training with your friends and loving it.
Yeah.
I can't believe I don't have more photos of training with the guys. Like all those 2 years in Australia, hardly have any pictures of us even together. Like, you know, we take pictures at events and stuff, but pictures at the gym, hardly any. You know what I mean? It's just really funny.
I'm lucky
this wasn't
that
something we thought about.
I did, because it was kind of like I said, coming from my old world of photography, coming to this Well, not only that, but the second thing is like I had a great appreciation for having found something new, find something else that I could love. And I was like, I still, every day I get a new Facebook memory of a video I shot training with Shelby or doing something or,
Right.
My second prep, I started documenting pictures from like the first week. And I posted them on a message board. And actually, I used that to get free supplements because I was using this company's supplements. And I said, these are the supplements I'm using. I'm posting in their message board. And I said, I'm 16 weeks out. These are the supplements I'm taking. This is what my diet is. This is what I look like. I was a middleweight,
Right.
And then I got peeled. And it they ended up paying me later because they're like, hey, you're really good at this, So like it turned into something.
That's
but
cool.
It was all because I had all those pictures, all along the way.
Yeah. Yeah, I think people should do more of that though, because it is something I go back now. Both of my girls love to train now, which is awesome. So I go back to the gym in the afternoon and train them.
Yeah.
And I see these young kids in the gym that all of the old timers like us get irritated by. And I don't. I just see dudes at the gym doing what they do, whether they know what they're doing or not, training hard, having fun. And I'm like, man, enjoy this because it's literally as good as it gets. You just get better at it,
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. So soak that up is my answer for the question. That's the biggest error I have. And I actually don't have any pictures from stage. When I was younger, I used to even say it. Like my mom would be like, are you going to buy the pictures? I'm like, no, I'm going to wait till I get better.
Yeah.
So I have none. And I'm like,
Right.
what I would pay for the 186-pound Dusty on stage that wasn't even in very good shape just to have those pictures would be awesome.
Yeah.
So that's it. Thanks for letting me cheat off you guys.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
So that's it, man. Good. I thought that was
okay?
solid. Yeah.
Well, I hope everyone really enjoyed the live interview on Wednesday.
Yes.
That we haven't done yet.
But you guys have seen. Wait, what?
Yeah, it should be a good one. So we're looking forward to that. And do we just like, share, subscribe, comment, and
Ring the bell. And also,
and remember, IamMutant.com, Mutant big supporters of the show. Go on there. You got Dusty 20 and Big Ron 20 to get 20% off. So definitely use the code. And we appreciate you guys. And last couple episodes, I really enjoyed reading the comments on YouTube as well.
yes.
So
I love
keep
the comments.
those up. And remember, questions. What are we doing, Scott? Questions on YouTube get priority.
Yes, questions on YouTube, and if you're on Patreon, I have a thread that I put up over there too. So
Okay, awesome.
Nice.
Okay,
And
thanks, guys.
Hardcore set of the week. That'd be cool to see.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, tag us up. Tag us up in a few. And we like the idea. Okay, remember, everybody, it's just bodybuilding.